blessings include guidance, tapping into that part of ourselves that is forever communicating with us, giving us feedback on our choices, and guiding us into that next step. On the 6th of April 2021, today I found myself questioning so many things that I had previously incorporated into my filters, the filters that we perceive things through. And I'm really grateful to allow myself the time and space to actually be in that question. I've recently been guided to compile some resources around living solo, as in really from heart. As I have a really strong sense that this is where we're going collectively. There's so many conversations people are sharing, so much evidence of it, and it's, for me, very timely. And in compiling these resources, I guess in a delivery sense, there's some systems and processes that I'm currently mapping out, which is required when you are chartered with this strong sense of obligation to be this voice, be this conduit, be a messenger, be guidance personified. So that's all happening, and I'm really excited. What I've found in the last 48 hours particularly is that there was some resistance within me around some aspects of business, and I've chosen to take the time it takes to actually honour that about me, realising that a lot of it is based on past experiences. And that's where most of us draw from in terms of evidence, if you like, as to how we feel about a particular project, a particular creationship. And so what I found came up for me was certain things around languaging. So I was led to have conversations with two key people today, and it's feeling a lot lighter. And I do this all the time. If there's an inkling that something is feeling like a resistance within me to take that next step, question it. bring light to it. Enter into a dialogue with it so that it can articulate more clearly the truth message. It's interesting, so that then reveals, and all of a sudden I feel so much lighter. It's so important, isn't it, for us to enter into a flow of creativity, that we want to know that we can manage it and navigate it with greatest ease and joy, and align with others who have the capacity to fill the gaps within our own skill sets and our own degrees of confidence. And that's what today was about for me. And it's another example of the broader picture, where we're stepping into an unknown and things aren't feeling totally clear, and there appear yet to be some pieces of that vision that are yet to reveal. So stepping into that faith, that if we can feel it in our hearts, see it in our mind's eye, we already have a resonance with it and an experience of it. And the it for me is pretty exciting. And every step that I've taken, every perceived detour and challenge has strengthened some aspect of me that was feeling most vulnerable, into trusting my guidance enough to embark upon this next chapter. There's so much available to us within our own resourcefulness. That we often don't yet trust enough and outsource the seeking of it. It's really a beautiful time to be fully in that reflect mode, and to allow what's to reveal to simply reveal in divine order, as it always has done. There's a lot of banter that I'm observing around those that are really in the grip of the anguish and the unwellness and the fragility of this pandemic during this global pause, and the degree of suffering and loss and tragedy that many are experiencing is absolutely undeniable. And I keep questioning, for me, what is my greatest contribution, and I'm constantly commanding that reveal for me, because I am very blessed in this moment in time to not experience the symptoms and sometimes that can stir within us a sense of fear. If this is such a sweeping global energy, how many degrees of separation am I currently where I am in the state that I be, with the resilience, the immunity that I have to be this side of that side. What I'm beginning to receive for me is this awareness that everything is a vibration. And going into the fear of anything is going into a degree of love that is, for me, best described as being below that line of vulnerability versus faith. And it's a very, very personal situation. So many things I've experienced in my life, I believe I've had no choice about. I wasn't consulted on so much that has happened in my life. I didn't grant permissions for things to unfold the way that they did. Yet I find myself in the wake of the consequences of someone else's choosing, and life bringing situations into my experience that appear so beyond logic and fairness and justice. So I do have that experience. Yet I also have a sense that our state of consciousness is within us to access a more with ease way of experiencing situations in our lives that, again, we didn't seem to subscribe to. We didn't put a hand up and say, oh yes, I'll take that one. These things seem to just happen. And it's not as a punishment. It's not because we don't deserve better. It just happens to be. And what I've realized for me is it takes time to navigate situations that, without choosing that path to navigate it, look it in the eye, see what it's about, where does it reside, who's is this? What is it here to remind me about who I am? And being in this space of the question around that has been my absolute priority for the last particularly 5 years. There were times when I've been so unwell and out of balance energetically and systemically and oracally. My whole energy field has felt shattered and in turbulence at times. That it takes everything I know to stay this side of that side. And suffering, whilst some say it's optional, for me, I found it is the path, it is the way to a greater understanding of the essence of my life. So for me, it's not about negating anything. It's about fully embodying all that I am and retrieving aspects of myself that I've hidden in safe spaces around the cosmos, across lifetimes, bringing them back before me in conversation and inviting them to come back into my loving heart as the wholeness that I am. And when I do, I feel enlivened. I feel a celebration of the particular situation. Not the injustice of it. However, and I don't know anymore that it's teaching me anything. I'm now more believing that because there's a resonance within me to even ask the question around anything, to explore it deeper, to be willing to see it differently, there already exists a resonance with it. And it's simply, for me now, a sense of awakening that and bringing it into my consciousness. I guess for me now, the pinnacle of all of that is, as a divine being, would I choose anything less? And my answer would be no. So when I feel that I am choosing less than being my wholeness in truth, that becomes my quest. It becomes my conversation with self. It becomes my banter with others. It doesn't negate the pain, the trauma, the torment, the anguish, the plethora of emotions that come in absolute tidal waves and wash over me and through me like relentlessly for periods of time. Yet it's in the knowing that how I choose to take responsibility for what's mine, to heal, to embody, to recalibrate, realign, share. That's where the magic happens. And that gives me peace, allows me pause between the thoughts. So referencing back to vibrational energy, for me, I have a theory, and I'm not the only one having this theory right now. There's still so much playing out around the counterforce, the either or. Yet when we step into the and also, what then else is truly possible becomes another question. And that question invites so much more to reveal that is collaborative, unifying, healing, holy. Having worked in aged care, some years ago now, there comes a time when people are at that point in their life, through varying degrees, requiring full-time care. And what I remember loving most about being in their company, providing care and support and love and nurturing and nourishment and medical support, medication, connection, a listening ear, includes conversations around, if this is my last day where I can choose what I would like to experience, I would choose. And the answers would flow from this incredible place of dignity and certainty and clarity and personal responsibility, in faith that perhaps it's truly possible to know ease, to know peace in your heart. That which can't be bought, can't be borrowed, can't be acquired from anyone else. That which resides in our breath, our personal story. Preparing for our way home. As our own godliness. such a privilege to hear the stories. Holding someone's hand as they would share. Moments of joy, sometimes regrets. Incomplete dreams. Unresolvedness in some ways. Yet knowing that it was a journey worth living for so many reasons. I would hear stories about a gentleman's career in the timber industry, not far from where I lived. Stories around a woman who didn't have a family, was totally committed to being a nurse and a matron till she retired and required care from the same source, if you like, to see out her days. Children whose bodies were so physically entangled in not dismissing, this isn't being at all making any light of it, however, entangled in torment and dysfunctionality. Yet the soul is present, and that's who we relate with. Women who receive diagnoses that stop them in their tracks. Men who have endured such anguish around a sense of inadequacy and inherited modelling that became such a burden to navigate, yet overcome so much as a result of the situations that would arise. So much happens in life that takes us back to ourselves, back to our hearts, where for each and every one of us, everything resides. There is no one-size-fits-all formula for healing. No medication can take away the hurts we feel. That comes from a deeper place. And therein lies the gift, not of the trauma, of the divinity that we be. So the vibrancy of anything can be met with a healing energy. And when it does, sometimes it can dissolve, neutralize in a way. Speaking from experience. understand from that is that really we're all guiding each other home. There's a collective motivation to know peace within. And so it is. Thank you for sharing this time. Honor your journey. Be the energy and the vibrancy you want to feel in your heart every day. Surround yourselves with others who uplift you, and also those who take the time to hold your hand through the tough times. And maybe can share some of their own experience so that things may lighten. Honouring our Earth days every day, reminding our hearts to smile.